Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live 10 at 10.
I can't really say that I've ever had an inmate in this jail before, or a crime that's shocked the community as much as this one has, where we've had more justification than we have in this case to isolate somebody.
Protecting the people accused of killing Savannah Greywind and taking her baby isn't a job many people are signing up for.
But that's what jailers are doing in Cass County with William Hain and Brooke Cruz as part of their duties. Valley News Team's Clint DeRose has more on this heavy responsibility.
Andrew Frobing, an administrator at Cass County Jail, is responsible for the safety of all inmates moving through the facility. He's been given the task of making sure that Brooke Cruz and William Hain, who were arrested in connection to Greywind's disappearance, have their chance for a fair trial.
They're not subject to vigilante justice. They are entitled to their day in court.
Right now, the two are isolated from physical contact with other prisoners as part of a protective custody called special management. Frobing, along with other jail officials, decided that this would be the best option, not only to protect the two accused, but also to keep other inmates safe.
I have to take into account that somebody might try to do something impulsive, and if they fight back, what if they end up hurting another inmate? Then we're going to be sitting here saying, you knew what they were capable of based on their charges, why didn't you keep them separate in the first place?
There's also the concern that any attack against Hain or Cruz could start a chain reaction of violence.
We try to deal with problems while they're small before they get big. And if I can avoid a fight between two people from starting, then I can avoid it from spilling over into something larger.
Frobing knows how people feel towards the two prisoners in his charge and doesn't want to take a side in the argument of what should happen to them. However, he says that it's his responsibility to protect the lives of all of his inmates, regardless of what they're accused of.
It's my duty as a jail administrator, whether people agree with it or not, to make sure that no one can intentionally cause them harm. And there is plenty of sentiment out there for me to justifiably be concerned about that.
A concern that'll make for a long wait, with these two facing many court dates as investigators seek justice for Savannah Greywind. In Fargo, Clint DeRose, Valley News Live.
The next court date for Cruz is September 28th, and for Hain, it'll be October 4th. They'll remain in protective custody until jail officials think there is no longer at risk for themselves or at risk to others.
Authorities say a farmstead near where Savannah Greywind's body was found is no longer considered a crime scene. Her body was wrapped in plastic and discovered in the river near Harwood, close to that farm. Fargo police say they're still actively pursuing all leads and options to determine where the murder took place. Greywind's mom and dad, along with her boyfriend, are now able to see the baby girl, believed to be Savannah's. They have named her Hazley Jo. As of today, they have not heard when the baby will be released to family. Funeral plans are in the works. The Ramsey County Medical Examiner tells us Greywind's body can be released once the family chooses a funeral home.
People in Hillsboro say they're in need of more child care. Yesterday, we told you the Tot Spot in that town closed after its child care license failed to renew on time. And the center received 26 correction orders for violations between October of 2016 and August of this year. Today, at the Traill County Social Services meeting, many parents expressed their concerns with officials that they have few options for child care. County leaders say that they understand the issue and say they want to try and work with anyone who wants to have a child care facility. The owner of the Tot Spot says that she will not reopen the Hillsboro Center even if her license is renewed, because if that license is ever revoked, the Tot Spot centers in Fargo could also be revoked. The Hillsboro Center took care of more than 50 children, and there's only one other daycare center in Hillsboro.
A warning tonight from Grand Forks Police to anyone trying to use a fake ID. They're looking for you, and so are liquor stores and bars in the city. The police department says fake IDs are on the rise in their area, and the stakes are high if you're caught. Among them, a higher risk of alcoholism and binge drinking, and an increased risk of being sexually assaulted or getting a DUI.
The president's coming to North Dakota. Donald Trump will be in Mandan next week to discuss tax reform. The president is expected to visit the Tesoro refinery in Mandan on Wednesday. About 500 people have been invited to hear the president speak, and Valley News Live will be there to provide coverage of the president's visit to North Dakota. Today's announcement came shortly after we found out that a Dickinson, North Dakota company is one of 4 contractors chosen to create concrete prototypes of the wall the president wants to build between the U.S. and Mexico. Although funding for the wall remains in question, the prototypes are estimated to cost nearly $4 million and will be built in San Diego. Meanwhile, final decision selections will take place after a thorough review and evaluation of the prototypes.
A Fargo man, Tate Smith Nerline, has pleaded not guilty to several charges relating to a standoff with police. He was arrested in early August for refusing to come out of a house in North Fargo. A woman who was in the home before the incident says she believed Smith Nerline was possibly suffering from a mental illness and drug abuse. His charges include aggravated assaults and terrorizing.
Northern Cass School superintendent today pleaded guilty to DUI. Corey Steiner must pay a $1,000 fine and will be placed on 360 days probation. Steiner was pulled over near Mapleton August 12 with a blood alcohol level twice the legal limit. School board leaders indicated that they'd wait until after court proceedings before deciding on what action to take with Steiner. He's not only handling superintendent duties, but also helping to fill a principal vacancy that was created when Ryan Lyson was let go earlier this year.
Tax statements for next year are showing up in mailboxes across Fargo and West Fargo. And while we were told by lawmakers we would see some property tax relief, that doesn't seem to be translating into lower dollar amounts we have to pay. We told you this was coming. The state throwing out a property tax relief program, instead using that money to fund county social services. What that means is an average of 8 to 9% in tax increases across the board. Some say it's not only frustrating, it's downright confusing.
So I don't understand how that translates it. I know that a couple years ago people were quite frustrated. That the one thing is obviously mills, because I'm not an accountant, I'm not a public service person who understand these mills, because usually they're being increased.
Residents in one South Fargo neighborhood say they have seen their bills increase anywhere from a few $100s to well over $600.